All right, so this week we're going to be discussing or continuing our discussion on market research. But before we do that, wanted to go over the next couple of weeks of assignments. This is week 12. The homework that's due by April 4th at 11:59 p.m. You have your M6P portfolio project rough draft due, as well as the Module 5 knowledge check. Those two are due by April 4th at 11:59 p.m. Next week, we're going to start working on Module 6, which is segmentation. The assignment that would be due for that week is the knowledge check, of course, plus M6-2 reflection market segmentation and targeting assignment. That'll be due by April 11th at 11:59 p.m. All right, so this is the instructions for the portfolio project rough draft. You can read through that. It's a minimum of 150 words for each product. So just make sure you pay attention to that, the word count minimum, as well as the rest of the instructions. So in the previous lecture, the week 11 lecture, we discussed steps 1 and 3 of market research. Now we will discuss steps 4 and 5, and then we'll end the discussion with an example on how market research is used by companies. Step 4 is to develop the findings. This is where we use the data that was collected. Since marketers need to analyze the data and then present the findings, marketers will begin by taking the data and organizing it in the most logical way that they can understand it, and they feel that the people at their company can understand it. From that, they can identify the different trends. Once the trends are found, marketers can come to some type of conclusion about what the data is telling them. These conclusions must then be presented in a clear and understandable way. And you can use presentation methods as having a table, having a chart, a graph, or just having a summary, just summarizing the findings. Step 5 is to finally take the marketing actions based off of whatever the data and the summary tells you. Once findings are presented and reported on, it's time for the marketing to use that data. They need to determine what type of marketing actions should be conducted next, and they have to evaluate whatever steps they decide to take. Marketers will evaluate the marketing decisions themselves. The decisions is whatever action marketing took based upon whatever the research findings and the research data told them. They considered things such as, was the action, did the action work? Whatever they decided to do based off of the research. Was it beneficial? Did it accomplish whatever the marketing objective was? Or should the action be done again in the future? Marketers will also evaluate the entire process. So from step 1 all the way to step 5. And basically just to get an idea of whether it was done. So after each step, you're going to evaluate what you found and try to make it better, or should try to make it better. Any questions? All right, so now that I've gone through step 1 and step 5 through step 5 of the marketing research process, I'm going to go over the marketing research using an actual case study or two companies. You see Fisher Price and you see Hasbro. We're going to use the diagram and our knowledge of the market research process to apply it to the competition between Fisher Price and Hasbro. The product for Fisher Price is the Little Mom Doll line. For Hasbro, it's the Baby Alive Doll line. For Fisher Price, the product line, that Little Mom Doll line, included baby dolls, doll clothes, wearable doll accessories, doll bathtubs, high chairs, all types of things for baby dolls and for kids to play with. This product competed with Hasbro's line, which was called that Baby Alive. Based off of Fisher Price having problems with 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 the competition and keeping up with the competition, we're going to use the 5 steps for marketing research to see how they decided to either stay in the market or get out of the market. So step 1, which is to define the problem. Since Hasbro's Baby Alive was dominating the baby doll category and Fisher Price Little Mommy was lagging behind in sales, Fisher Price had to decide how are they going to rectify that problem, which was that their product was not being sold as much compared to Baby Alive. So that was the problem that they had come up with. The Fisher Price marketing team was assigned to Baby Alive decided to do some research into whether or not they should change the look of their doll to be aligned more with the Baby Alive, and if it would help improve the how people perceive their product. So this part was part of the research and objectives. So after you define the problem and you find out what you want to research, then you move on to the next step, which is to develop the research plan, which the marketing team, they knew that they would need to conduct both the primary and secondary research, and that they would have to do this by using panels, which they call mom panels, experiments, and different questionnaires. So this is the determining how to collect the data part of step 2. The researchers wanted to find out different things from the research, such as what type of reaction the panel would have with the new look versus the old look of their doll, why children decided to select their doll over the Baby Alive doll, why children decided why they liked Baby Alive over their doll, and did the moms and children react favorably to different color schemes, different sizes, and different things that they were going to possibly change with their doll. And this part is the identifying the data. Next thing you do, you need to determine any type of constraints. So for this research, time was going to be the constraint that the marketing team needed to know if a new look to their doll, to the Fisher Price doll, would be favorable. And they gave themselves up until early spring of that year or the following year. If they wrapped up the first phase of the research by then, they would be able to get new dolls in production for the next holiday season. So they were trying to make sure that whatever changes they made, that it would be ready for the next holiday season. If they decided and they waited too long, the production may be stalled and the dolls would not be ready for the next holiday season. The other constraint, which was not really a big constraint, was cost. But it wasn't a major constraint, but the team knew that they could only make so many prototypes of the new doll before it got too expensive. So again, this is the part of determining the constraints part. Any questions? So the third step was to collect the relevant information. The marketing team began with collecting the secondary information on both Fisher Price's dial as well as Hasbro's dial. How they did it was they analyzed prior point of sales or POS reports for Fisher Price dial over the past few years from the top resellers like Toys R Us, Walmart, and Target. They read and compared different online reviews on their dial versus Hasbro's dial. They also purchased reports from third-party market research firms about the baby dial category. So this is part of obtaining the secondary data. The team finally received the prototype and they could now conduct primary research. The first primary method used was, again, they used the mom panels. Moms were brought in and asked questions they compared things from the Fisher Price dial versus the Baby Alive dial. Or sorry, for both the old Little Mommy dial versus the new Mommy dial. They were then asked to compare those two based off of the images that they saw of the Hasbro dial. Fisher Price also called in moms to take survey questionnaires. They were provided with pictures of the different dials and then asked to fill out an array of questions. Most of the questions that they received were multiple choice and used for easy data collection and analysis. And this is part of the primary research. So they did a secondary research by looking at old data, sales data, as well as using the new data or the primary data based off of the new dial the new prototype that they had. Any questions? All right, so step 4 is to develop the findings based off of all of the research. So after all of the research had been done, okay, so step 5 is taking marketing action and actually evaluating the marketing action as well. So Fisher Price, after doing steps 1, 2, 3, and 4, they had to decide on if they wanted to go forward with the new look of the Little Mommy dial. The marketing action would be to redesign the look of the product. They'd also have to promote the new look and create a new point of purchase signage for retailers that carried the Little Mommy line. And they had to determine if there would be a new price based on the cost of the new revisions that were made on the dial. So this part is the make and implement actions. They also evaluated the results from the research. They had to evaluate whether they asked enough questions to the moms. Should they have had the children in the experiment also play with the Baby Alive dial? Essentially, they had to reevaluate all the steps taken, especially if they wanted to reconduct the Baby Alive research in the future. So this is part of the evaluation. So with doing a marketing research, it's very important to conduct a thorough research. Although it might be time consuming, research ensures that whatever marketing decisions you make or any actions you take are accurate as possible. Whether this is done on a large scale or a small scale, some degree of marketing research should always be done so that you have the necessary information to make whatever decisions that need to be made. Any questions? All right, so now you'll get into your group meeting to complete questions 3, 4, and 5. Each question should be 150 words minimum. Make sure that you email the Word document to me by this evening at 11:59 or it'll be considered late. I'll be available for one-on-one check-ins during your group meetings. Make sure you put the correct group heading on the email, the on the Word document that you send in to me. And as far as your weekly journal entry, it's the same as before, minimum of 50 words on what you learned in today's class, and if there's anything I need to review in next week's class.